people
Yeah.
know you as Nate the Hoof Guy, but for those of us who aren't familiar with your videos, introduce yourself. Where are you from? What's your background?
Yeah. My name's Nathan Ranello, and go by Nate the Hoof Guy online on my different accounts. But I grew up on a dairy farm in Northwest Wisconsin, and went to worked on dairy farms my whole life. Went to college at Winona State University and worked on a dairy farm there when I was going to school, and that's kind of how I found the hoof trimming profession, working on that dairy farm. So.
Yeah, what spoke to you about hoof trimming that made you want to pursue that as a career?
Well, I wanted to have a career in the ag industry and I wanted to own my own business. I didn't really know how I was going to do that at the time, but just as part of as working on that farm, part of my job was to help their hoof trimmer. And it was interesting. And I figured it was something that I could do, and there was a demand for it where I wanted to live. So it was like a natural fit.
So then what made you start taking video footage of of the work that you were doing on the farm? What sparked that idea?
Yeah, I'd always I had a fishing show earlier on. Before that, I had a on a network with a friend of mine. We did a fishing show, and I wanted to create content around my work, but I really didn't think anyone would watch it. That was back in 2010. So I just didn't follow it. I didn't create content around it. And then in 2020, I just thought, well, I'm going to try it and see what happens, as a resource, maybe for farmers or whatnot. And then it kind of just took off. And that's when I realized it wasn't really a resource necessarily just for farmers. There's a lot of other people interested in it.
Did that surprise you that, it was more than just your customer base that was even interested in what their cattle's hooves look like, but that you had this whole other group of people, maybe unfamiliar to agriculture, that just drew onto this stuff?
Yeah, that's the part that I didn't see coming, was that people that didn't know what it was would be the ones that are actually interested in it. And that's really the key to it. They had something they'd never seen before. It was a career that they never knew existed. And then just the intrigue around what was happening, I think, is what drew them in. And that's why it became as popular as it was.
Yeah, popular being literally 100,000 or and more viewers, and that's just on those YouTube shorts that I was watching all morning long. I'm like, these are so
Right.
awesome. I can watch these all day. But what has drawn the most attention, or I guess what topic or what are you filming that does tend to reach the biggest audiences or get the most views?
It's the videos where I'm doing a lot of knife work when I'm trimming. So if a cow's got some type of hoof problem that I have to use my knives and kind of work the hoof away from it, that's the ones that they really enjoy. I think it's just because there's more going on, there's more action, it's more of a fixing a problem type situation. So that's what I think they enjoy watching the most. That's the ones that those are the ones that I tend to film. I trim a lot of cows, obviously, on a daily basis, and only a few are going to have problems, but those are the ones that are the most interesting to the viewers.
Are people ever alarmed? I mean, do you ever get crazy questions about, like, animal welfare or, anything else that you have to kind of bridge that knowledge gap?
Yeah, for sure. And that's the reason that it's kind of counterintuitive. It's like you're showing a problem, so that would tend, you would think, would tend to highlight, maybe a negative aspect, but really when you show the problem and explain exactly what causes it, how to fix it, how we prevent it, it adds context to all of these things, and it makes it much more understandable to just the layperson, versus if they only saw it one time, or if they didn't get enough context around the issue itself, then they may think that. But with the right explanations, the right context, it becomes easy to understand. And over time, my viewers actually will answer some of those questions for other viewers in the comment section for me, because they understand what causes them, things like that. So.
And I bet you're making this look, well, you are making it look easy. I'm sure people are saying, "Oh, I bet I could be a hoof trimmer too." I
Sure.
mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's not as easy as you make it look, is it?
No, absolutely not. It takes a lot of practice. I've been trimming for 22 years now, so it's a lot of repetition, a lot of practice doing it. And that's what gives you that expertise in the long run.
Now, we've had a pretty wet year, Nate, so I want to ask you, what are some of the common issues that you do see in cattle feet, cattle hooves, their claws, this time of year? Maybe it's heat related, maybe it's moisture related. I guess what are you videotaping these days?
Yeah, confined cows, you're seeing because of the heat, you'll see a lot more of the white line issues, abscesses, and ulcers and things like that from just the added standing time. Okay, obviously, when cows are heat stressed or they get hot, they stand up to get rid of that heat. That's the easiest way for them to do that. When they're on their feet longer, they're going to have more foot problems. When it comes to moisture related cows on pasture, you're going to see a lot more of the hoof rot, foot rot type things because their feet are sinking deeper into the dirt and stuff. They're getting more abrasions in between their claws, so you're going to see more instances of that with the wet weather.
Again, this is stuff that people get to learn because you are filming it on farm in most cases. Nate, do you have to get
Yep.
permission from the dairy farmer before you take these videos and put them up?
Yeah, I always do. Just it's just good business practice to make sure that they're comfortable with it, and that was the biggest thing before I started making videos is I wanted to make sure that I didn't want to offend anyone by doing it, and I wanted to make sure that I was, shining a good light on dairy farming in general and animal husbandry practices in general, how we take care of the cattle. So yeah, that was always a conversation that we had.
It's funny you said the videos that get the most views are when you use some of your sharper tools, the knife work, that kind of thing. Stepping back though, do you feel like social media is also a tool that you can use to spread the word about the dairy industry, animal welfare, etc.? I guess, how do you see social media fit into that space?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a it's a what do I say? It's an extremely important part of that because there's a lot of people telling the stories now. Anybody can tell a story. So we have to be proactive in doing that and telling our own story and making sure that when we do, that we can explain these problems and create, give analogies to people that they can understand to help them relate to what's going on. And when you do that, you squash a lot of these false narratives that are put out there on social media. You're able to tell the story the correct way with the correct context, and that allows the listener to or the viewer to get a better view of what's actually happening and why.
Nate, where can people check out your videos? I mentioned YouTube earlier, but give us a sense of the platforms that you're on and the tags that we should be searching to find you.
Yeah, you can just search Nate the Hoof Guy, and you'll find videos. You'll find me on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, those major platforms. You can find my videos on all of those.
And just a fun fact for us, what's the most amount of views you've gotten?
I didn't actually realize that I was talking to doing another interview, but I have a video on TikTok that's got over 90 million views on there. So yeah, and the largest one on YouTube has got around 54 million. So yeah, it's crazy.
It blows me away. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
wondering what's in people's algorithms, right? That brings them these hoof videos that makes them so popular. I think that's just incredible.
Yeah, it's just about being able to engage the viewer for the length of the video, and having good content, good comment feedback in the videos. That's where you get that. That's how that algorithm reads it. So
Well, that's what I'll be doing for the rest of the day. Don't tell my boss, but I'll be watching your more hoof trimming videos. Nate, anything else that you want our either our dairy audience to know or our non-farm audience to know before I let you go?
um, not that I can think of. It's just yeah, it's a lot of work, and like I said, it's just I think it's important to be able to tell the story the way we want it told, the correct way, with a lot of good information, and that allows the viewers to really be able to make their own educated decisions on what's happening and animal welfare in general.